and welcome back to another episode of the Dylbozer's Den. Today we have two reviews we're going to be doing. First up, we're going to take a trip up to Rocky Mountain High of Denver, Colorado, and we're going to talk about an album that seems to have the underground just openly gushing over the last little bit. In the words of legendary announcer Jim Ross, good God Almighty, it's the new album from Spectral Voice. This album has been a long time coming. I believe we were looking at 2017 once the last full-length record came out. Eroded Corridors of Unbeing, say that 3 times fast. You've had many demos, tour-only releases, splits that have came out in between this period of time. I am presuming that the other band that also hails from Rocky Mountain High has kept these guys pretty busy, as 3/4 of this band are in Blood Incantation. We're not here to talk about Blood Incantation. We're here to talk about this fantastic record, Sparagmos, which I believe has some sort of Greek leanings and Greek god leanings. Who gives a shit? It basically means being torn apart. Normally, I look at a 4-song album that's 45 minutes long and I kind of scoff, just for the sheer fact of I'm one of those guys that goes, how long does a song need to be? Sometimes it works out really well. And like this album, it does. You've got 4 tracks clocking in at 45 minutes on the nose. And it is vastly different from the album that came before it. The album before it is even a little bit more death metal than this. You've got more traditional death metal sounds. You've got more traditional death metal riffs, guitar parts. This album has a lot more space for it to breathe. This makes me think of the movie The Descent. These just creatures crawling out from the primordial ooze of a cave or a bog or something like that. I mean, the album cover, upon first glance, is terrifying. It looks like skulls on a wreath or anything like that. And this album is chock full of atmosphere and mood and dread. 4 songs, clocking in 45 minutes. It feels more like one long listen. And I don't mean that in a negative way. When you're listening to this record, you definitely can think of some Lovecraftian cosmic horror, Ridley Scott-esque things going on. Maybe if you're a fan of like Lord of the Rings, I could definitely see Gollum crawling out of whatever hellhole he was in, holding on to that ring for all those years. Not to say that this thing isn't full of riffs and death metal guitars, because it is chock full of it. Riffs that, remind me of Incantation, riffs that remind me of Morbid Angel, but slowed down big time. Are there comparisons maybe to the other band this band's in? Maybe. Truth be told, I think this band's a little bit more interesting to me than Blood Incantation. That's not to say I don't like that band at all, because I really do. But this band's got a lot going on. And the fact that you've got 4 tracks that almost play out like some sort of odd ritual of sorts. You start out with, the track Be Cadaver that opens and sets the pace of the record. And then you go into my personal favorite, which is Red Feast condensed into one. That's got this huge lumbering knuckle dragging riff about halfway into the song. The song's about 11 to 12 minutes long, so you got to work to get to it. Then you go into Sinew Censor. That is monolithic. And then you end with not only a great title to a closing track, but also a great closing track. Death's Knell Rings in Eternity. I mean, Jesus Christ. When you listen to this record, you're experiencing shit. You're going through trauma. I don't know if that's what the guys in the band wanted, but they definitely fucking got it. If you really, really, really like your death metal with a lot of doom and gloom, you're going to fucking love this. Grab your fucking BC Rich Iron Birds and log in and set back, because this is a fucking listen. Now, for a second review. This is a personal favorite. I've been waiting for this thing to come out since I got to see this band back in actually a year ago this month. The band I'm talking about today is Nashville, Tennessee's own Pelagius. I got to see them open up for Artificial Brain and Crossspitter, I believe, on the 13th of February in 2023. Knew nothing of the band. I just knew they were on a bill with a band that I was looking forward to seeing, being Artificial Brain. as far as I know, that's their first show. I could be wrong. Maybe some of the guys will check this out and they can let us know about that. But from the point that I saw that show and I saw what that band could do and I saw what they were playing and had the aura and the, for lack of a better word, feel of what they were doing, I had to hear more. It was dense. It was lumbering. It was chock full of riffs. There was a confidence in what they were playing as well, which says a lot for a brand new band like that. But I can go on and on about the live show, but I knew from the point that I saw that band that whatever this band put out, I had to hear. And here we are a year later, a self-titled EP, single, whatever you want to refer to it, that was released on Total Dissonance Worship, which if you've watched a few of my reviews, we also talked about the most recent Knoll release that was also released on Total Dissonance Worship. Not only is there that connection, but these two bands share a member or possibly a couple members. If you are a fan of Knoll and the type of dissonance and the swath of just chaotic noise, you're probably going to like this. There's less of a focus on the noise aspects and maybe the chaotic nature of Knoll in this band, and you get more of a lean, mean kind of fighting machine. Not to say that this isn't creative, because it is. It's 3 tracks. I believe you can check out the Total Dissonance Worship Bandcamp and get this release. I believe there at this point in time, there will be cassettes that could be dropping at any point for all fans of that. The 3 tracks are Anguish Immersed in Yellow Sky, which is the opening track, Radiant, which is my personal favorite of the 3, and then Looping Effects of Humankind. I get Immolation vibes. The minute I saw this band, I immediately thought of any era of Immolation for that fact. You know, this is a band that I can't wait to hear more shit from. Hopefully we see something along the lines of a long player or maybe an EP. Hopefully we get a little bit more music. Hopefully we get more shows. Check them out on Instagram at Pelagius Death. I'm sure they will have any upcoming shows listed on there, and then we can move forward. But check this shit out. Let me know what you think of it.